Hi everyone, welcome to my computer and network security project. This project is part of the CSET4850 class, which is taught by Dr. Sun, and I'm going to talk about security ethics today and its importance. So for the project outlines, it consists of 5 parts. The first one is the introduction, which will tell you about the definition and history of security ethics. Second part is the standards, which will tell you about the international frameworks and standards all around the globe. The third one will talk about the dilemmas in using security ethics in different case scenarios, and there'll be case studies that revolve around it. The fourth part is describing the best practices that in organizations and businesses, as well as individuals, will have to implement to make sure that they have a complete and secure system security. And the last part will be conclusion, that will talk about more of the future directions and basically sum up what security is, the implementation, and what will come in the future. So moving on to security ethics definition. So security refers to the measures that are taken to protect people, information, and access from harm, loss, or damages. For example, the lock on your door, the fence around your house, the password of your Gmail, or even the firewall, your router. And ethics refers to the principles and standards of behavior that guide the moral decision making. To combine them together, we will have the policies and guidelines, the set of principles and standards that guide moral decision making to correspond to security measures, which will follow standards and laws and enforcement that will combine with the control mechanism to ensure a secured security system. So this is the CIA triad that stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It is a fundamental concept in the field of information security. These 3 components work together to ensure that information is protected from unauthorized access, manipulation, or loss. From an ethical standpoint, the CIA triad is important because it helps to ensure that sensitive information is handled in a responsible and ethical manner. When it comes to the CIA triad, ethics and security go hand in hand. So simply said, security ethics refer to acting morally when it comes to security. It entails putting security measures in place honestly, openly, and responsibly. And as well, making sure people, organizations follow the rules. It is crucial in all aspects of security. So moving on to the security and history. Back in ancient times, there are documents that states the importance of security, which could include the Hippocratic Oath. It is the world's oldest security ethic code that is mainly for healthcare professionals. And under this oath, the healthcare student will pledge to maintain and protect patient confidentiality, treat all patients fairly, and respect the privacy of the patients. The purpose of this is to protect information and physical security to the workplace, the healthcare professional, and the patients. The second document is the Art of War. It's written by Sun Tzu during the Eastern Zhou period. It is an excellent military treatise that discusses various aspects of warfare, including the importance of security in the art of espionage. I don't know how to pronounce that word. And the last one is the Astra that provides a comprehensive guide to statecraft and security, covering a wide range of topics related to national security, intelligence, diplomacy, and also internal security. That is written in ancient India, dated back to 400 BCE. So security has been prominent for a long time, and it has a long and complex history. So moving on to security in the 80s. Why I'm doing security in the 80s, because that is when computers were first introduced to the general public, but there's a lack of ethical guidelines regarding the use of computer, and there's some issues that led to these incidents. First one is the FedEx-25. It's a radiation therapy device designed for the treatment of cancer patients, but it malfunctioned. One of the main issues was related to the software controlling the machine, and the software was not designed with sufficient safeguard to prevent errors. For example, the software allowed the operator to bypass all the safety checks and override system warning. And additionally, it was not tested or validated before it's released. So that means that it has a lot of errors and bugs. So as a result, it released massive radiation overdoses to patients and reported in 6 cases that include serious injuries and fatalities. So on February 6, 1987, the FDA placed a shutdown on all of this machine until repairs are made. The next incident would be the ARPANET crash in 1980. So basically, the crash was caused by a software bug in a program called Network Control Program, NCP. Initially, this was used to manage traffic on ARPANET, but there was a design flaw in the program. So whenever the program encountered an error, it would send an error message to the destination node, which then send a message back to acknowledge it been received. However, when it's lost or delayed, the send node would assume that the error had not been received, and it would resend it. So it results in a loop where the same error message would repeatedly send and receive, causing the program to crash. The crash had a significant impact on the development of the internet. And it's also led to the development of the transmission control protocol, internet protocol, which we call TCP/IP nowadays, and which became the standard protocol for the internet in the modern day. The third one is the Morris worm. Interestingly enough, this worm was released by a computer security student that's currently studying at MIT. And in 1988, he released a automatic computer worm that rapidly spread across the internet and get into the system of a lot of prestigious universities and research centers and caused the computers to slow down massively. Communications were delayed for several days, and the network engineer have to work to eliminate it, but they have to understand how the worm works and proceed to take a lot more days to clean out the system. And some systems were forced to shut down the computers for up to a week. It was hard to determine the cost, but estimates range from around $1,000 to as high as millions of dollars. Pretty catastrophic results. So in that case, the Computer Ethics Institute was formed and underwent a rebranding, as we know as the CEI today. That's where they developed the concept of the Computer Ethics 10 Commandments, which some of them are, thou shalt not use a computer to harm other people. You shall not interfere with other people's computer work, and you shall not snoop around computers files. These commandments for protecting the integrity of information and ensure that people follow security ethics that help frame guidelines to all computer professionals nowadays. And these are some security standards that are developed throughout the years that ensure security ethics, which include the NSIT Cybersecurity Framework in 2014. It includes the core functions of security, which are identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And also the recommendation of ethics on AI by UNESCO, the IEEE Code of Ethics. Also, there are the ISO IEC 27001 that is the world's best known standard for information security management system. It's pretty strong system to manage sensitive information to ensure the CIA triad. Also, there are the PCI ESS, which deals with the payment card industry, basically states that all transaction through electric cards should be maintained confidential and must be protected at all times. And also we have the HIPAA, or called HIPAA. It's a law that regulates the privacy and security of personal health information. It's pretty important for healthcare professionals and institutions. So these are some ethical dilemmas that put privacy and security, access versus control, transparency versus secrecy, and efficiency versus privacy, and also cybersecurity versus free speech. So we have to choose one of the two at times, and based on the context, we should choose which is best for the security and also follow ethical guides. Some of the case studies that we have is the National Security Agency, in which Edward Snowden, he was a former contractor, but when he moved to Moscow, he released some classified documents to the public of the United States government, and in which the publication state that surveillance activities of the United States government was an infringement on individual privacy. So, and we also have the Apple case with FBI versus FBI that requested Apple to open up an iPhone belonged to a criminal, but Apple refused to open his iPhone because it violated the individual rights of privacy. But the iPhone contains a lot of sensitive information that could result in more of national security if the police can get their hands on it. So it's a controversial topic that's been going on for years. And also we have the Meta platform, which we know as Facebook, that had a really huge scandal in 2018 that they have a third-party company called Cambridge Analytica that's been collecting the users' data without their consent. and there are still lawsuits following this case. And now Facebook users can still follow the case and sue Facebook for getting their data without their acknowledgement for a political campaign. So following those case studies, we have the best practices that we can ensure organizations, businesses, and individuals to have the secure system and security that include established policies and training based on the CIA triad. We can have a well-structured, transparent, and enforceable security ethics policy, and also follow regulatory compliance policies, which follow the rules, and also have trainings for employees to be aware of the security ethics behavior, and so also aware of the regulations. We can have the parameters and connections secured by putting up firewalls using VPNs, IDS, SIEM, or log system for monitoring security vulnerabilities and also ward off cyber attacks. We have to regularly review and update security, mending up patches, and also trust but verify. And also we can employ different access control mechanism to ensure that only authorized personnel can access sensitive data and system. We can encrypt sensitive data. So encryption keys should be managed and protected by organization, even if an internal employee get their hands on the data, they cannot read it because it's encrypted. Also, we need to have measurements to manage risks and anomalies, basically to monitor the system on a regular basis to identify areas of potential attacks, potential risk and breaches. We need to do pen testing as well as other security assessments. And we also need to have a recovery plan to document and back up and outsource if we need from other security agencies. So looking into the future, we have the rise of AI that helps with faster and more effective encryption, and as well as data detection and threat detection. We have the rise of social media that is an easy target for a lot of cyber criminals who want to steal information and launch all the phishing, malware campaigns. We need to be aware of how to protect the data accounts to make sure that users have a safe environment to get onto social media. Also, the cloud computing is becoming widespread, and a lot of organizations using it because of storage, and they have potential of getting cyber attacks, and as well as the significant resources. So we need to apply a lot of security ethics and security measurements into cloud computing to protect this massive data. Also, the rise of quantum computing and new cyber threats, some of the new concept, but it underpins modern information security that can be studied by new concept of computer security professionals that will secure information and may now getting more sophisticated to protect data and information under new cyber threats and new computing methods attacks. So for conclusion, security ethics is a moral compass to security industry and how we develop technologies to protect human value and interests. Its purpose is to make sure technology and procedures are in line with the values and need of organizations and individuals. So by understanding security ethics, we will contribute to the development of the more prosperous security society in which we can all thrive. Thank you for listening.